Hello people, I'm Jaby Koay. Joining us is ACHARA KIRK.
Hi.
We're going to discuss SPYDER, the South Indian film. If you guys haven't seen it yet, don't worry. This won't be a spoiler review, not yet anyway. We'll let you know when we get into the spoilers. So, this is from IMDb. Intelligence officer Shiva must use his skills and intellect to take down a psychotic terrorist wreaking havoc on Hyderabad. It stars Mahesh Babu, as most of you probably know, and is directed by A.R. Murugadoss. And I think that it's pretty obvious that for most people going in to see this movie, the big thing that is drawing the audiences in is Mahesh Babu, and perhaps the visual effects that you may have seen from the trailer. But Mahesh Babu is like the big star that everyone wants to watch. And so I recognize in advance that I am not the target audience for this film, but I'm going to try my best to give, my impression to you guys anyway about it. It wasn't my favorite film, I'll just say that right out of the gate. I tried to go into it with the attitude that I would approach something like Fast and the Furious, but even then it was kind of wearing on my patience. However, if you haven't seen this movie yet, there's one scene about 3/4 of the way in that I would say makes the film worthwhile, and it's a scene with, I don't want to give too much away, but it's a scene with old ladies, is the easiest way to put it. And it's my favorite scene in the film. It's one of my favorite scenes in movie cinema history. It's just it was such a great little moment in the middle of the movie that for me, it made it very much worthwhile. It had me laughing, it had me smiling, and it moved me. It was just a very interesting moment that kind of came out of left field, which for me is kind of how the whole movie is. Things kind of just come out of left field, and they don't make a whole lot of sense for me, but I recognize that, American cinema and South Indian cinema are very different, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But even taking that into consideration, I feel like I have seen, better work come out of South Indian cinema. I don't know. That's me personally. I would prefer something like Bahubali.
Right.
Right.
I felt like this movie was trying to go for some really interesting ideas and themes, which I liked, but perhaps they were just short of the mark on execution.
I'm not going to say exactly what happened, but at the end of the film, there's a message that essentially the director is kind of saying to the audience, and that would have been a great message if that was kind of woven through the film more.
Right,
but
yeah.
it just kind of showed up at the end, and it kind of came out of nowhere. Again, things kind of coming out of nowhere. Like a big rock rolling down the middle of the city. There's just random things, and there are definitely cool ideas. Obviously, they don't have the budget of American films, but with that being said, I was told that rock sequence took 6 months to execute.
Wow.
Visual effects and everything. And so we watched it with Kartik from Bahubali.
Bali Fools.
Bahubali Fools. All these B names, getting confused. So yeah, he's like the third person in the Bali Fools. He invited us out to watch SPYDER actually on Tuesday evening, and so we went to go watch it with him. And he was telling me that it took 6 months to do that sequence. And, there are definitely moments in that sequence where the destruction looked real. But then there are other moments where it looked obvious to me, having watched a lot of visual effects-based films, as many of you guys probably have. It looked, artificial. It looked cartoony. But there were definitely moments in there where it looked really, really good. The action was, other than that, forgettable. Except for maybe a few moments there's a hospital sequence near the end of the movie it had some moments, but overall it was just kind of a messy movie for me. And
right.
I tried to think of it like this. I tried to think of it like, okay, how will a South Indian audience respond to this, in the theater? Because I know that they're, very excited, and they get loud and they cheer for, their hero in the film. I tried to look at it from that perspective, and even taking that into consideration, I had a hard time appreciating the movie. But I thought that, me personally, I thought that Mahesh actually did a pretty good job. His performance was very understated throughout the film. And, he can only work with what he's got. And I thought that with what he had, I thought he actually did a pretty good job.
Yeah, his acting was definitely very nuanced throughout. I just sometimes wish at certain moments he gave a little bit more.
Right.
I'd rather have less than too much.
Well, for me, it was a breath of fresh air because I'm used to seeing a bigger performance. For instance, we just watched Vivagam right?
Yeah.
Is that the name of the movie?
Yeah.
And that performance was very big.
Yes.
Here, this was more understated and like, simple.
Yeah.
And I actually thought that would made him more human.
No, for sure. And I'd love to see him in more like dramatic roles as well. I think he'd do really well.
I can't say the same for everybody around him, even like the bad guys. I can't say the same for them, but he certainly did a good job, and he carried the movie as best as he could. So I was really missing the little spider thing they showed us in the trailer. I wish they would have had that somewhere. Like, that was just for the trailer, apparently, and that was kind of disappointing because I thought that was going to be an integral part of the story somehow. Like, he was a spy or whatever.
And he had a little spider that collected information.
Yeah.
There was no spider.
With, a pop sensational movie, you're going to get a romance story usually. And here, the romance story, like, it didn't feel organic for me the way it came about. And some of the choices characters were making didn't make sense to me. Like, at one point, Mahesh Babu's girlfriend has some crucial information, and she acts like a child about the information, rather than just giving it to Mahesh Babu when there's people's lives at stake.
Yeah.
That didn't make sense to me. The way he went about getting the information from her, chasing down her rickshaw, that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like, the whole thing was just like weird. Like, there were just a lot of weird moments in the film, and
even just their whole relationship almost didn't make sense because it was like they almost didn't want to be in a relationship. So why bother?
Yeah. So I feel like A.R. Murugadoss had like a lot of cool ideas, and I feel like the message he wanted to say was a really good message, actually. Like, I think that if he had, I don't know what, like, obviously went on behind the scenes. I don't know if, like, the film we saw was exactly what he envisioned. I would love a conversation with him to learn more about the movie, or I should just look up behind the scenes and see what happened in the creation process. But I feel like there was maybe more he wanted to do with it that he didn't get to, dictated by other parameters he had to meet for some reason. I'm not sure. It just felt like that to me because there was all these different ideas going on, and they didn't all quite gel. The visual effects with all the stuff in the I wanted to say the lab, but when he was doing the computer stuff and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could call it a lab. It's like a computer lab.
Yeah.
Office.
I thought all that stuff looked cool. Everything cool has like a super odd negative thing on the other side of it. Like, when there's a scene where Mahesh Babu sets up an entire computer lab on top of a hospital.
Yeah.
Within 2 hours and 45 minutes, we are to believe that he managed to bring in all these supplies, set up this computer lab, no problems whatsoever, track down some dude, and then catch him. And I'm like,
suspend disbelief hard.
Yeah, so, yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna go with it because I'm going with everything else in the movie. So I understand that by me expressing any negative information about this film, this video will probably receive a fair share of downvotes, but I just want to be real with you guys. There were aspects that I appreciated. Like I said, the scene with the old ladies is one of my favorite scenes in movie history. It's just like, it was so great.
I feel like in order to talk about the things that we liked about the movie, we kind of have to get into the spoilers. Because, like, there are things that I really enjoyed about the film, but I feel like I can't say it without giving it away.
Well, you guys, if you want a spoiler review, just let us know, because I feel like we've said enough, to be honest with you, to give a good impression as to how we felt about the movie. I know that ACHARA had a lot more fun than I did in the way of, like, watching a movie like Fast and the Furious, a very over-the-top action.
Yeah.
Maybe I came in with a weird mood. I don't know. I went into it wanting to, have the best time possible, but I know ACHARA had more fun. Let's just leave it at that. And so if you guys wanted a second review on this, like with spoilers and whatnot, just let us know in the comments below and we'll work on that if that gets voted up enough, that idea. But otherwise, this is it. This is our non-spoiler review. I was gonna have some spoilers in here, but I feel like we got, through
Well,
everything.
yeah, I would say in summary for me, like, yeah, there were flaws, but the message was really great. And that's what I enjoyed the most about this movie.
Yeah.
Plus the scene with the old ladies, you guys. You have to check it out.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the movie yet, that for me, that made it worth it.
Yeah.
And I was told that scene defied the norm, because normally what you'd get is just the hero handling everything in the film.
And that's what since you said that, that's what I love the most about this.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not your generic this is the hero saves the day. Yes, he saves the day with the help of everyone around him.
Yeah.
And I love that idea of community and like, you know, you're bigger than just yourself.
Sure.
You need everyone's help in order to succeed.
Sure.
So I appreciated that.
Yeah. And Mahesh Babu is a very good looking man.
Oh yeah.
So, you guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Please check out ACHARA KIRK on the social media. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check out our other reactions, reviews, short films, video game related videos. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.